on. Speaking, and then he sees there's one guy left. Oh, he says, I found my quintessential student. So he goes up to him and he says to him, I just want to ask you, how come you stayed? He said, I'm the next speaker. Thank you, Rabbi Y.Y. Jacobson. And this Dvar Torah that I'm going to give over is from my Rebbe, Rabbi Shalom Mordechai Rabashkin. He wrote this when he was in the place called prison. This little. Okay, so last week we talked about beginnings, and I want to talk about ends. Endings, meaning in terms of ending this galus. B'ezrat Hashem soon. People are these parshot of Shmos and Bo and Bashalach talk about Galus Mitzrayim and Geulas Mitzrayim. The exile that we had in Mitzrayim, and then the final Geula leaving Mitzrayim. And we've been saying this over and over, how it's unbelievable that since Simchas Torah, since we started reading Chumash Bereshis, Parshas Bereshis, we are living the Torah. We are mamish living what's going on. So there's so many similarities. I want to dedicate really this year today to the people who do the food and set up the chairs and the tables, and everything. I'll have to tell you, to prepare a class is ma'od kef. I love it. I get a lot of satisfaction. To teach, I love it. But don't ask me to come here at 8 o'clock and peel vegetables. I ain't doing it, as you see. Those are, we call them, the people in the background. And basically what we're trying to say is that it's like an orchestra. We need both. And right now, we are in a situation where we need people to learn, and we need people to daven, and we need people to be on the front lines. And we need people to do tremendous amount of chesed and cooking for the soldiers that we talk about every week, right? So that's really what I'm talking about is how we really need both. It's a combination of everybody's talents to get to the same goal. Okay, so in Parshas Shmos, Hashem says to Moshe, go to Bnei Israel, tell them we're getting out of here. And it's an amazing thing. If you think about that, Bnei Israel says, okay, great, we're getting out of here. You had to take a tremendous amount of emunah for the Bnei Israel to leave. I mean, they were in a very dark, dismal slavery, right? They were in an exile that they were being oppressed big time. And okay, but they had an incredible emunah, pshuta. And there's a medrash that says that in the zchut of emunah, the Bnei Israel were redeemed from Mitzrayim. Okay, so keep that on one side, is that we're redeemed in the zchut of the emunah. But there's another medrash that says that we were redeemed b'zchut dam Mila and dam Pesach. Okay, so which one is it? Is it that we were redeemed because of the emunah that we had, or is it because of the zchut of dam Pesach and dam Mila? So you could. So what does it have? Because that's what you do when you're a Jew. You try to figure out what if there's a medrash that says this and there's a medrash that says that. You have to say, well, which one is it, or is it both? And if it's both, how is it connected? So that's what exactly. So that's what. So it's pretty. You could see. I think you could see where I'm going with this. Is that you do need both. Of course, you do need both. That basically what you have to do is you have to take your emunah and you have to bring it down to poel. You have to bring it down to action. We have to do both, and not everybody can do both. I don't know if there's anyone in this room who is misugal, who is physically, emotionally, or spiritually able to go take a gun and go into Gaza. Okay, so except for I'm with you. Yeah. Okay. All right. I don't know if they want. I don't know.
We'll leave tomorrow.
Yeah, I don't know if they want you, but maybe. Okay, so basically that we're saying that we have to have this amuna, but that everything we see from Hashem must come through our avodah in poel, in action, right? The belief has to be demonstrated by action, something that has to be tangible. So you can imagine doing bris milah in Mitzrayim must have been taken tremendous amounts of serious nefesh, right? And Karban Pesach, just to remind you guys, it's an amazing thing. I mean, can you imagine Abdul going over to Shimon and saying, Shimon, what are you doing? Oh, I'm taking your sheep. My sheep. The sheep, that's our avodah zarah. What are you doing with our sheep? I'm going to tie it to my bed for 4 days. What? Yeah. I'm going to tie it to my 4 days. Why are you doing that? Well, because actually, soon there's going to be a makkah called makas b'choros, so we're going to kill all the firstborn, and then we're going to leave. Like, can you imagine? And
know that in advance?
What?
Did we know that in advance?
Yes.
How far in advance
Yes.
did we know this?
Yes, that's what they were told to do. So what's the first thing? And it's also the same words, there's a word that afterwards we see it's actually in the same wording. Yes, it starts off with that. It starts off with the last. Yeah, thank you. It starts off with the whole thing starts off with the last makkah. So and there's even the portion that put together that why was the case Yitzchak also was like Avraham Avinu went 3 days. He wasn't like you have to sacrifice on. Oh, okay, and he did it. And then go, what the heck was what? Same thing with the Jews in Mitzrayim. They had 4 days to say, you think this is a good idea? I don't know. What do you start talking about it? No, they had 4 days to make sure that they're doing it with Isha Vadas and doing it exactly completely out of their own free will and their willingness to serve their master. So basically we've got both things going on. And for those people who say the Tehillim of the day, you'll be familiar. Yesterday we said the pasuk. You're going to think it's Shir Shirim because it's like, but it's not. It's Tehillim. Okay, the pasuk says, Chesed ve'emes nifkashu, tzedek v'shalom nashaku. Kindness and truth met, righteousness and peace kissed. Isn't that beautiful pasuk? And Rashi says on that the Geula will take place when Yisrael becomes the universally recognized spokesman for emes. And if that's not what's going on now, it's like in your face. What is morality? What is a person's rights? Women's rights, except if you're Jewish. Whatever. We're not even going to go there. But here we are becoming the spokesman for morality of what's right in the world. So it says that when we will do what we're supposed to be doing in terms of speaking about emes, then Hashem will reciprocate and send a stream of chesed to meet our emes, like it says in the pasuk. Now, Medrash Rabbah on this, if you think about kindness and truth, right? Just think about kindness. We think about Aaron HaKohen, right? And if you think about Shalom, you think about Aaron HaKohen, Rodei Shalom, Ohev Shalom, right? That was Aaron HaKohen. And if you would think about truth, you think about Moshe Rabbeinu. Moshe Emes was the Reso Emes, right? So here we have the pasuk said Chesed the Emes nifkashu. Chesed they met, right? Aaron HaKohen and Moshe Rabbeinu met. What did they do when they met? They kissed. They kissed. Which is exactly what the pasuk says, right? Chesed the Emes nifkashu. They met. Tzedek v'shalom ishkachu. They kissed. Hey Yud Aleph. Tehillim. Right? The first time when Moshe Rabbeinu came down from Har Sinai and he was all worried that maybe my brothers aren't going to be happy, and I was just like, don't worry, he's actually coming to meet you now. And when they meet, they actually kiss. And even though they were the opposites, they kissed each other to signify that they would complement one each other by blending their talents. And this is basically how I started what I wanted to say by dedicating the Dvar Torah to the people who are doing the food. That basically we're all in whatever we're doing, whether it's the Bas Medrash on a smaller level, or whether it's the world and what's going on in the greater level, is that we're all part of this, and we're all doing what we can with our talents, with our abilities, to give nachas to Hashem and B'ezras Hashem to bring the Gula.
Amen. Okay. Something like that Gula, huh? Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much. I don't know, that can't. Okay, so we've been talking about carrying. All right, quick review. We said that there are two basic concepts that we have to understand in this idea of hotzah. One is transferring. We have to define what that means. What's the halakhic definition of transferring? And we also have to talk about what is a domain, since it's transferring from one domain to another. What is a domain? Yeah.
Does it say there what pasuk in Torah this was all based on? Like, where do we get this?
It's like all of the malachos, right? We get them from the construction of the Mishkan, and it's juxtaposition to keep Shabbos, build the Mishkan, and then they.
So what does it have to do with public domains? Where does it say anything about public and private domains?
When they took the Mishkan apart, so they had to transfer the krashim from a public domain, which was the desert floor, and move it to agalot, which was a private domain. That's how they derived it. I mean, if you
like what pasuk?
well, I mean, if you think so, it's just like I said, it's the same pasuk. I don't have it offhand, but it's the same pasuk as all the malachos come. I mean, it doesn't specifically say don't plant a seed, right? So it's the same thing as every other malacha. It always derives from the construction and according to some opinions, the operation of the Mishkan. Okay, so we talked about 4 different kinds of domains, right? We have Reshus HaRabim, a public domain, a private domain, a Reshus HaYachid. We have a space called the Carmelis, which we'll get into in much more detail, probably 2 weeks from now. Carmelis, right?
What is it?
Carmelis, it's an open area that's smaller than a it's comparable to a Reshus HaRabim, but it's a smaller space. Okay, and then a makom patur, which is sort of like everything else. Think fire hydrant. Okay, so that's and then we started talking about Reshus HaRabim, which we said is any large open space, a park, a interstate highway, major bridges, things like that. Okay, so now we're going to actually look at the halachos connected to this, to the Reshus HaRabim. So the first thing is that almost everything, the most restrictions relate to Reshus HaRabim. Most of the halachos relate to that particular reshus. Okay, and there's actually 2 different kinds of carrying within the public domain. One is transferring from one type of domain to another, right? It's like you walk out of your house, you're in a place where there's no eruv. You walk out of your house, you've got your handkerchief in your pocket, you've got your car keys, you have okay, and you're walking from your home, which is a private domain, into a public domain, and you're carrying this object from one to the other. And it usually involves picking up and putting down. Pick up from one domain and put down in another domain. But the other area is actually carrying within this public domain. So you pick up a ball. You pick up a ball, or even you take your hat off. It's not even without even the picking up part and putting down, which is essentially the essence of the malacha. But even just like taking your hat off and going for a little walk, carrying your hat. So walking stick, it depends if you need it for, like if you use a cane in the house, you can carry it. If it's decorative or if you just use it outside, then you can't. Yeah. So okay, so that's.
I'm freezing.
It's not on. All right. We'll have to work on that.
Like a hot water.
No, someone has to climb up here and move the thing. So.
You want to go to Asla?
What?
You said you were willing to go to Asla.
I'm short.
Oh.
I don't know if you know this about it. I'm not that tall.
Climbing up.
Yeah, you have to climb up. You have to climb up. Turn it on. The thing. It's on a timer, so we have to take it off the time. You will talk. Either of you or both of you will talk. Okay. All right. So let me go on. So, for example, a newspaper, is delivered. If the newspaper is delivered to your house, you walk out to the corner and to your lawn, and you take this newspaper from outside, you bring it inside. That is the prime example of taking from a public domain and going to a private domain. Or, they do garbage collection on Shabbos morning, so you have to take the garbage can from your house out to the curb. Okay, so that's taking from a private domain to a public domain. So those are the examples. So it seems though that this idea of carrying within, like you see a difference, right, between taking something from in your house to outside your house to like kind of being already out in a public area and like taking off a hat or something like that, right? Like that, you can see sort of there is a difference in that type of carrying. But we have this, but so carrying within a Reshus HaRabim is called havara, like transferring, passing, and it's actually halacha l'Moshe Sinai, but it seems to sort of contradict the rules of Hotzah. And so they say this it's like a very interesting idea. The reason why, besides the fact that it's halacha l'Moshe Sinai, when the area around you, this is personal space halachically, the area around you is considered a private domain. You're like 4 amos, around 6 feet around you is considered a public domain. So private domain, thank you. So for you to walk carrying something from here to there is that you've left a private domain and you've gone into a public domain. What time is it? Okay, just your private domain, but you're carrying this.
Is that like when people have this thing, but you can stop? You're carrying something, you can stop. Is that the forefront? Is that you're always in saying you're carrying something?
Well, no, with that's talking. Well, not exactly, but I mean, you're allowed to go 4 amos. Right. Okay, you're allowed to, if a button falls off and it's a very valuable button, you can actually like kick it over to the side a little bit, as long as you have to do it very gently so it doesn't go beyond that. But so that's one act. If you stop, then that's like you finish the act, and then you walk again another 4 amos, because you carry your private domain with you. Then you can go another 4 amos. I mean, it's prohibited rabbinically. It's prohibited rabbinically, but if you have a situation where there was something like a screaming kid,
and they lay down in the middle of the street.
Right. So that's, or you pass it, but that's. Excuse me.
Sorry, I
Okay. All right. All right. So then, just a few rabbinic things. Okay. So. So the idea is that the definition of Hotzah is you pick up something. It's called a kira. You uproot this thing, right? And you put it down. But there are certain situations where it's not so true and where it's not so obvious, but they've been prohibited by the rabbis. So like the first Mishnah in first Gemara in Shabbos deals with somebody taking a poor person standing outside, and he calls inside to a rich person, and he takes a basket of food and he takes the food and he puts it outside of his house, but he's not putting it down, and the poor person takes it from them. Okay, so each of them are only doing half the act. Okay, so according to D'Oraisa, according to the Torah, you would be allowed to do that. But as with many things in halacha, the rabbi stepped in, and to avoid confusion, they had to so they prohibited doing that. Or, for example, a person could walk from their private home, go on the street, never putting the object down, go into somebody else's private home. Okay, so that also would be permitted d'oraisa, but the d'Rabbanan, because somebody's going to see you, like walking here, how's this person carrying their challahs from my house to your house? Wouldn't be me. Okay, so that's pretty much. Yeah. Also, I guess if you see some valuable jewelry, right? So d'oraisa, you might be able to do something with it, kick it along 6 feet, kick it another 6 feet. D'Rabbanan, you can't. Again, to avoid this confusion. So that was it. And that is all. You look confused.
I am.
To avoid confusion. I'm trying to avoid confusion, and there you are looking confused.
For example, on Shabbos I'm going to the school. I need to carry my siddur and my glasses. So outside it's all a room, but I need to come from the second floor to the street.
Right. You don't have the problem. There's an A-room in this entire city, and most cities have an A-room, and it's ideal if they don't have a city-wide A-room, but they have
when you're visiting
section.
your family, America.
Right. If you're visiting your family in America, bring your sitter to shul before Shabbos. That's
check
your
the city of
or check it, right. Oh yeah, that's right. American. They do have a the whole area, the whole area.
It can go down. There's 2 areas. Yeah, I doubt it.
I think there's more than 2. I think there's more than 2 Arabim, which is one way of avoiding the problem of it. You have like kind of repeating Arabim, so you can avoid the problem of something falling down. Yes, ma'am. Leah. What? Say that again. Okay. Very good. Okay. All right. So just a few quick announcements. First of all, I think we're going to try and leave the door open. I'll work out the heat, but because it just makes everybody crazy. So we're just going to leave it open a little bit so that everybody can go in and out, and it's hopefully. Okay. So just leave the door open. No, we're just talking about the fact that we're not going to be moving the door. We're going to open it to a certain point and just leave it, and everybody will be happy.
You said you want to contribute something to the show. Maybe you should continue fixing the door.
I'll talk to them about it. They've done it a zillion times. They told me they fix it every. Okay. Okay, we have the box. What do we have? Not for the soldiers. I had another couple of the soldiers. Yeah. Okay. Okay. All right. Also, in case I know this isn't likely to happen, in case there is a siren. Okay, this is a very good miklat. Okay, if you look at it, I mean the walls are about 7 feet thick, 8 feet thick. So, right, so it is right, stronger, thicker than in most miklats. So just move over to the wall, stay away from windows, any kind of glass. If anything happens, then it will all be safe and Mir Hashem. Okay. Okay. So thank you again to Doba for stepping in. Thank you very much to the people who came on on Sunday to help to clean up, to try and put a little polish on the place. My husband said nobody noticed it. What? That's man. There you go. There you go. So today, I said, you didn't see anything? He said, yeah, I saw that. He came to look. He said, I saw that you cleaned out that old area in there. Okay, yeah, okay. And he said, but you didn't do the windows. All right. Right. There you go. Okay, also thank you very much to Elisheva. Happy birthday to Elisheva. Okay, we brought birthday cake in honor of all the what month are we? Teves. Oh, Teves people. Okay.
Just turned 59.
She just did. Isn't that a beautiful thing? 60. Okay. Thank you very much to Dvar Pfeiffer. There she is. Okay, she's sponsoring breakfast. Okay, in honor of her mother's yahrzeit, Hannah Bas Moshe. So appreciate it very much. Okay, I think all of our regular classes will take place except for Miriam, is unfortunately not feeling well. So shall I go through it again where everybody's sitting to make sure everybody knows? I can't read this anymore. Okay, so yeah, Miriam was in that first room, the minion room. So if some other group wants to move in there, feel free. You'll take, okay, so Ilana's in there. So Shayna's group is in here, and the different kabulot are in here. And if you want, feel free to move around. You know, if you find that it's like very noisy, you know, I mean, we'll adjust. We're getting used to this space. I think like this might be noisier than this. So I don't know. For 11 o'clock. Yeah, don't go. Don't go. 11 o'clock, Reva's class is in there. Shulamit's class is in there. Ilana is in here. There's a table there for if you want to use it. Also, we cleaned out the space in the back, the sukkah area, and it's a nice warm day. So Ilana, there's a table there. You can bring some chairs. If any group wants to go back there, you're free to just adjust to the space. Okay, and then Doba's in here, and Shoftim is in here, and the Nesiva Shalom is in here. So that's it.
Groups in here?
Well, it's the biggest room, so. Okay, okay, so Nesiva Shalom people, you want to be in there for today? Okay, then next, a few more things. Okay, Nechama Kaplan is giving the final shiur of her series on the spiritual underpinnings of Amalek and the end of darkness. Oh, Sippy, go to bye. Okay, also we've been collecting money for soldiers for I know we had a better thing prepared. Anyways, this is for you know, Yehudis Hoffman and her group of married women. And every week they're making something like 1,000 different meals, and the stuff has to be transported. So we talked about everybody trying to make a commitment to every week giving a certain amount of money. So if you are able to do that, it would be a good thing. So it's right here. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, just remind everybody, dues. That's it. And we have other announcements.
Lero, would you like to make an announcement about the event?
So
And I will add something.
on Sunday, we